All right, I don't know how well this is going to come out, but I'm going to do my best. So what we first need to do is this quickie concept of the, wow, we went over a lot of stuff. Let's just say we wanted to build a network effect company and we were just going to get 1 billion members and then we're going to vote for the winner. And since it's $1 per vote, and we got 1 billion votes, we have $1 billion. And we're like, all right, what do you want to do? You want to build a new email system, replace Google, Facebook, or Amazon, or do something else? I don't know. It's just a thought experiment, except we could do it for real, right? And we could do some baby steps. What we need is a control system um, to see how we collect money and how we deal with that. All right, so what I want to do is go over, I sure hope this is all working the way I want it to, is to go over the scam, the bankster scam. All right, I just went to the computer and I looked up how much gold we have. The United States has the most gold, apparently. We have 8,134 metric tons. Now, how much of this is going to get used up in our banking exercises? That's right, zero. Zero. In fact, for all intents and purposes, there's no reason for that gold to even exist. I can't even figure out what the point is other than to say if you have that gold, then you are capable of paying for a default, I suppose. Of course, we did default in 1971 and we decided not to reimburse paper money for gold anymore. Anyhow, what we're going to do to demonstrate how the scam works is we are going to reproduce the scam ourselves. So we're going to start with our treasury of $2 billion, right? So we're going to get 1 million members, right? Most of them, well, they'll be anywhere in the world, but we're going to get a lot from Florida. I guess that's neither here nor there. Anyway, we're going to use gold Krugerrands. Each member is required to buy and store in their safe at home one gold Krugerrand worth roughly $2,000 in 2022 prices. Okay, so we're going to have 1 million gold Krugerrands in our system. We're going to have 1 million members in our intentional network effect business community. And so we're going to put those in the treasury. This little bucket here represents that. That equals $2 billion, right? So we have a substantial treasury. And then we are going to have a cash flow system as well. So while that money is sitting in the bank, we are also going to have 1 million members pay fees, membership dues of $1 per month, which of course is $1 million a month. So $1 million will be added to the treasury, so it'll be $2 billion, $1 million. And then we're going to have payments. We're going to pay employees of our community, of our business systems to develop things like, software, for example. So we're going to make payments to them with that money, and then we're going to allow borrowing against this. We'll probably make our own cryptocurrency, and we'll back our cryptocurrency with our $2 billion worth of treasury. Now, I know you might be thinking, oh, well, maybe you didn't buy the Krugerrand yet, even though you've been telling us that you already had the Krugerrand. Well, I wouldn't worry about that too much, okay? Because when you get done with this exercise in a few years, you'll understand perfectly. Just make sure the Krugerrand is in your safe, in your house, carefully hidden away, so it'll basically never be seen by anybody. You can even lose the combination of your safe if you need to, okay? So we're going to use this, the 2 billion, to stake our system. All right, what's the next step? Let me hit the pause button for a minute. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry that this is going to be such a rough a draft, but anyway, we've got our gold. We're going to use up zero. We have $2 billion. We have $1 million a month of cash flow, and I think the fundamental value of the system is the number of assignments that people have agreed to do, okay? So when we go back to the scam system, okay, what, where does the value come from? You know, they have all this complicated fractional reserve banking, and, you know, money is created out of thin air, and money is debt, and so on. What you really need to understand is when you borrow money from your bank for a house, which is the main thing they like to do, because that's the core of the scam, is to take something of actual value, make you put, let's say, 10% down, and then you promise, so you give them cash, and you promise to work for them and give them value every month for the next 30 years, right? So basically you sign up to be their slave. Now, of course, you get a house, right? But they control the markets, the economy, the interest rates, how liquid it is, how easy it is to get a loan, whether they are going to expand the economy or shrink the economy. All of that is controlled by them, right? So at any time, they might restrict the market and you may not be able to have a job, and so you lose your house. Of course, they got your 10% down, right? They don't give that back to you and say, well, we're going to cancel the deal. So we're going to, you know, no, they rip you off. They take whatever they can get. And you are a slave because even if you say, well, I don't have any debts, I don't borrow money, I'm like a cash pay as you go system, where they're sucking your economic value out of you as you're sleeping, right? I call it, so a reach around. You reach around and pull the economic value right out of your butthole when you're not looking, continuously, all the time. So, how do you prevent this, right? You need to take part in an alternative system, right? So we'll have the ultimate peaceful revolution, in a matter of speaking, right? Because instead of saying, let's round up all the bankers and lock them up, or let's audit the Fed, which has never happened, or we're going to do certain things to make the system better, just understand that they control the old system, the legacy system, 100%. There's basically nothing you can do about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new system, but we're not going to use their money, okay? And we're going to train all our members how the scam works, right? And we're going to start with our treasury of $2 billion or 1 million Krugerrands is going to be the treasury of our system. And then we're going to make loans and we're going to contract for services. We're going to make this. We're going to make an intentional network effect business, cooperative or community. I've been toying with those two. I think we're going to call it a community because cooperative scares people with commie connotations or something. So we're going to make this thing, and it just means that it's like, oh, well, what kind of businesses are really good for the network effect and which are not so good, right? So if you are a plumber and you only get, you only earn money while you're working, this is not a good network effect business, right? So that's not going to be on our top 10 list of things to do, be plumbers or carpenters, right? What we want is something that scales. We basically want software and internet websites, something like email or Google Drive or Twitter or Facebook or even Amazon and shipping. So we're going to first have our membership list, right? So we just dig up 1 million. We'll do some tests, right? So we only need 3,000 people to do a test. Now what you might be thinking is, well, how is this going to be successful? How do we know that, if you send your money in, that the money doesn't get squandered, or what if it goes to a failed project? Well, A, it's a risk you're going to have to take. B, we're starting with $1, right? So if you get completely wiped out, you lose $1 per month, right? $12 a year will be your total loss. So there's that. And number two, but when we have $1 million put in, you'll be able to vote, right? On what are we going to do with the money? What should we build first? So what we're going to need is a control system. We need a system that allows me to connect with the 1 million members to figure out what you guys have just told me to do, right? And since I'm not going to do it, I'm going to be the communicator, visioneer type of person. We're going to need a CEO and a programmer and a communications guy, and we're going to need to fill some positions, right? Initially, because we have no framework set up. I mean, I have 10 years worth of notes and notebooks if you want to dig through that, but we're going to have to build this system. So if you're sitting there watching this saying, I could do that. I'm a pretty good CEO. I'm good at business administration, and I'm retired and I got nothing to do, and this sounds really cool, especially when you find out that this will save humanity, right? It'll fix climate change. It fixes all of that. This is a solution. And you're like, how did we jump from there to there? Well, you got a lot of videos to watch and then you'll know. But basically it's because the banking scam is what allows for excess resources to go to stupid shit like bigger and bigger private jets, right? If you're working for your own company, you're not going to say, well, I'm going to work twice as hard this month because we need a corporate jet. Instead, you're going to do something else, right? You'll probably work on a way to make yourself work as little as humanly possible and still get all the main things that you need. So, in a direct way. So the crossover system is about building a network effect company with all of you, you listeners, and I'm gonna throw down some examples, okay, of how we do this thing. Well, the first project, we need 3,000 people for the first project. And although they won't have like special voting rights, we're going to call them the 3,000, and they're going to be the first 3,000. And so the first 3,000 that agree to participate in the first project, this is where the Florida voters come in. So you have to be a Florida voter for this particular business module. So we're going to build this network effect business cooperative, right? And then we're going to have projects within the co-op, basically fundraisers for our own cooperative, so we can build out all the tools that we need to run ourselves. So the first business proposition, the one that takes no money, right? It's literally just signatures, is something I've already done before, so it's proven, it can only be done every 10 years effectively, and can only be done by Florida voters. So I'll tell you about that in a separate video. Basically, you'll be a super signer signing petitions. So that'll raise us about $500,000, which we'll throw back into the kitty minus, whatever my salary ends up being. So then the next step is other businesses. So let's say you have a business that you want to propose, and you know that we've got 1 million members, and they each pay $1 a month, and they each open an email at least once a month, and they click at least once. It can be "Don't bother me" or "What's new?" Let's say the "What's new." This is a very crude overview, but let's say the "What's new" button is a guy who says, "Well, I want to build a toothpaste company for our membership." And then I found out this is where all our projects are 100% recyclable. All right, they're recyclable business concepts, and hence they cannot fail. First one, the first one that's not software is the toothpaste. Now remember, we're going to have everybody's a business member, right? So they're all a shareholder in the company, and they all have a common bank account. So all the banking, billing, invoicing, everything is all automatically built in to our little co-op. So for a product, let's say toothpaste, I'm getting in the weeds, sorry guys, look at, you ask the members, would you like toothpaste? Yes. So you click, sure, I'll buy a Business Co-op toothpaste. I'll give it a shot anyway. If it's disgusting, forget about it. And maybe you'll click and you'll click a little survey, and the survey will be like, do you insist on, Colgate, and that's what you've used for 20 years? Or are you one of those people you really don't give a shit what kind of toothpaste it is? You just grab what's laying around? Or are you concerned about fluoride? Do you use the strongest fluoride or the weakest fluoride? And so forth. Or do you maybe use organic toothpaste with no fluoride, like I do, because I'm concerned about my health and I don't want anything toxic. So fill out a little form, and then what we would do is we'd take this $1 million a month of cash flow, or we borrow against our $2 billion of reserves, and we say, well, look, we have a list. Because at this point, remember, we have a list of, let's say, out of our 1 million members, let's say the first 3,000. 3,000 people say, yes, I want toothpaste. And your little business model, it'll take at least 3,000 people to buy the toothpaste packaging machine and so on. But you also find out that you don't need fancy packaging. All you need is generic plain tubes and, whatever. So you make the toothpaste, you ship it to all the members. The cost is, 50 cents a tube or whatever. It's basically a cost plus contract. There's no marketing. I mean, all the marketing is done, right? You have all the orders. If the toothpaste is good, maybe the rest of the members also want some. Let's say it fails. The guy never ships the fucking toothpaste, all right? We give him $1 million. We give him all the revenue from 1 month. We give Mr. X $1 million. He buys a new toothpaste machine and some land where he's going to package the toothpaste in a shipping system, and he fucks it all up. The whole thing is fucked up, right? Now the money sits in a bank and the payments are distributed via our accounting, let's say. So this is where the company gets recyclable, okay? So let's say he bought the wrong tube and he bought the wrong toothpaste machine, or he bought a good toothpaste machine, and whatever the situation is, we don't throw away the company and sell it for 10 cents on the dollar. We just get rid of him. He's no longer managing the toothpaste module. We'll get a new guy doing the toothpaste module, and he takes over all the equipment and all the tubes, and he makes the best of whatever we got left, and he ships the toothpaste, right? It doesn't really matter who makes the fucking toothpaste, okay? It's not rocket science. It's toothpaste, all right? But it could be rocket science. We could be making a rocket to go to Mars. Anything you want could be financed with this mechanism, okay? And we also, of course, you're thinking, well, what about toilet paper and so on and so forth? Of course. And then you're thinking, that sounds like Amway. Yeah, a little bit. The difference is all the guys at the top of Amway got all the money, whereas our system, the network itself gets all the money, right? Plus the toothpaste at the cheapest cost. Now you don't have to go to the grocery store anymore and deal with any of that bullshit. And here's the best part. You're never going to have to worry about them suddenly deciding to cut corners or use a cancer-causing ingredient in the toothpaste, because they're in your own company, okay? And B, the cost for the toothpaste, it's cost plus. Everybody at the toothpaste plant gets, let's say, $50,000 a year is the minimum wage, and the ingredients, if the ingredients get more expensive, our toothpaste gets more expensive, because we've all agreed that we want the premium ingredients. So you don't have to worry about them trying to compete and chiseling some shitty ingredients. And let's say the toothpaste is twice as expensive as Colgate in the grocery store. Well, A, go back to buying Colgate, or B, you can call up the toothpaste president and say, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, well, you realize they're using, shit with arsenic in it to make their toothpaste, and it's probably going to give everybody cancer. We're using the best ingredients. This is why you got to pay a little more. I think you get the idea. In our current system, right, because the EPA and the FDA and our government's basically completely failed, and every single regulatory agency is now what they call captured. So unless you're going to buy toothpaste, go and do your own laboratory tests every time you buy a tube, you are never going to be safe again unless you own the company that makes the toothpaste, which is what you'll do. And what we're also going to do is we're going to do everything, right? As proposals come in, we will take care of every single need for our business collective so we can drive down the cost of living for ourselves and we get it as low as possible. Then we should be able to measure how much work we have to do for what we get. And if this whole system works the way I believe it will work, every year, forever, life will get a little bit easier with a little bit less work for all of our members. It's that simple. Why? Because nobody is stealing. No bankster is stealing your economic value in your sleep. It's all tracked. We're not using dollars, right? We're going to be buying the toothpaste from the ingredients. Eventually, everything will be in network, okay? So that's what we're building. Now, of course, software is an even better example than toothpaste. We're not going to start with the toothpaste thing, although we do want to do a proof of concept, actual product that gets shipped. But most of it's going to be software. I mean, let's face it. We have huge needs for good software, even storing your photos and stuff. Some people are getting tired of Apple and Google, and also they don't make any improvements hardly. So we'll definitely do all the software projects for our own cooperative. What else can we do? Let me hit pause for a second and review my notes.